A man walked into a local store and nervously made his way to the ladies' department counter. He spotted a saleswoman behind the counter and mustered up the courage to approach her. "Excuse me," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. "I'd like to buy a bra for my wife." The saleswoman smiled politely and asked, "What type of bra are you looking for?" The man's face immediately turned red as he realized he had no idea what he was looking for. "Type?" he inquired, feeling a bit out of his element. "There's more than one type?" The saleswoman chuckled softly and gestured around the store. "Oh, there are dozens of different types of bras in every shape, size, color, and material you can imagine," she said. "But don't worry, even with all of this variety, there are really only three main styles of bras to choose from: the soldier, the judge, and the politician. Which would you prefer?" Now, thoroughly confused, the man asked the saleswoman to explain the differences between the three styles. "Well, it's quite simple," the saleswoman explained patiently. "The soldier bra is designed to defend a strategic location from foreign hands. The judge bra ensures that everything is equal and balanced. And the politician bra, well, the politician bra blows everything out of proportion." A new widow requested the epitaph, "Rest in peace," for her husband's tombstone. When she later found he had left his fortune to his mistress, she attempted to get the engraver to change the carving. This was impossible. The words were chiseled and could not be changed. "In that case," she said, "please add, 'until we meet again.'" God was tired and worn out, so he spoke to Mr. Peter. "You know, I need a vacation. Got any suggestions where I should go?" Mr. Peter, thinking, nodded his head, then said, "How about Jupiter? It's nice and warm there this time of the year." God shook his head before saying, "No, too much gravity. You know how that hurts my back." Mr. Peter reflected. "Well, how about Mercury?" "No way," God muttered. "It's way too hot for me there." "I've got it," Mr. Peter said, his face lighting up. "How about going down to Earth for your vacation?" Chuckling, God remarked, "Are you kidding? 2,000 years ago I went there, had an affair with some nice Jewish girl, and they're still talking about it." Pinocchio is in bed with his girlfriend, doing what wooden boys do with their girlfriends. When it is over, he notices she is crying. He asks her, "What's wrong?" And she says, "Oh, Pinocchio, you're the sweetest lover in the world, but every time we do it, I get splinters." Pinocchio is very upset and goes to see Geppetto to ask what he can do about this problem. Geppetto says, "Well, you know, my boy, maybe if you used a bit of sandpaper on your sensitive bits, it might help smooth over the problem, so to speak." A few days later, Geppetto is in the hardware store when he spies Pinocchio at the counter, ordering every type of sandpaper in existence. Fine sandpaper, coarse sandpaper, medium sandpaper, everything. Geppetto goes up to Pinocchio, pats him on the shoulder and says, "My boy, I bet you now have success with all the girls, right?" Pinocchio looks at Geppetto and replies, "Girls? Who the heck needs girls?" The doctor and his wife were playing golf at the club. On the first tee, she drove a 300-yard tee shot straight down the fairway. The doctor said, "Wow, I've never seen you play this well before." Marie says, "I took lessons." A couple of days later on the tennis court in mixed doubles, she smashes her serves and never misses a point. The doctor said, "Wow, I have never seen you hit so well before." Marie says, "I took lessons." On the weekend, they settled into a nice dinner at home. Marie brings out 2 perfect plates of beef Wellington, and the doctor says, "Wow, I've never seen you cook like this before." She says, "I took lessons." After dinner, she gives him that looks, and they go upstairs. About 30 minutes later, the doctor rolls over and says, "Wow, That was incredible, amazing, and so hot. Before Marie can speak, he adds, I want a divorce. Jack and Heather had been married for almost 45 years. Lovely couple, but Jack had this one bad habit that had always disgusted Heather. Every morning before getting out of bed, Jack would let out this thunderous, paint-peeling fart. Poor Heather would just cringe. Over the years, she had complained to Jack. You know, Jack, one of these days, you're going to fart your guts out. What are you going to do when that happens? Jack never took it seriously and just continued on with his morning release. So, Heather decided to begin getting out of bed before Jack woke up. Well, Thanksgiving came along, and Heather was up extra early doing prep for that evening's dinner. As she was preparing the turkey, she came across the giblets and had a devious idea. She took the giblets, went upstairs to the bedroom, and carefully placed them in the back of Jack's boxers. With this done, she returned to the kitchen and carried on with her dinner preparations. About half an hour later, Heather heard this blood-curdling scream come from upstairs. She chuckled to herself. After a couple of minutes, she figured she had better go check in on Jack. As she walked past the bathroom in the upstairs hallway, she saw Jack kneeling naked beside the toilet, holding 2 fingers up in front of him. What's wrong, Jack? She asked while trying to hold back her laughter. Jack turned toward Heather, a tear running down his cheek. You were right, woman. My goodness, you were right. I actually farted my guts out this morning, but with sheer determination and these 2 fingers, I stuffed it all back in. Mom, may I take the dog for a walk around the block? A little girl asked. No, I don't think so. Fifi's in heat, replied the mother. What does that mean? Asked the child. Embarrassed and not wanting to get into a biological discussion with her young daughter, the mother said, Oh, just go ask your father. I think he is in the garage. The little girl goes to the garage and says, Dad, may I take Fifi for a walk around the block? I asked Mom, but she said that Fifi was in heat and that I had to come talk to you. Not wanting to have the biological discussion either, the father said, Bring Fifi over here. He took a rag, soaked it with gasoline, and scrubbed the dog's rear end with it. Okay, now you can go for a walk, but keep Fifi on the leash, and you can only go around the block once. The little girl left and returned a few minutes later with no dog. Where is Fifi? Her father asked. She should be here in a minute, advised the daughter. She ran out of gas about halfway down the block, and another dog is pushing her home.